Well, hello, and welcome to the Coaching Business Spotlight Show. I'm your host, Kat Knecht, and I bring you on every episode some tips, tricks, techniques, ways, soul strategy to take a look at your coaching business so that you can grow it. You can grow it to be as successful as you would like, as well as have fun, joy, have your heart and soul invested, as well as your time, money, and effort. On today's episode, I'm going to begin to make a little bit of a pivot. So the this podcast, which focuses spotlight on a coaching business, is a community-based what show. I'm going to say it's a community-based show. I publicize it to the public and it goes out on social media, it goes out in my blog. So it's listened to by a variety of people, but how I am pivoting it at this point is to bring what I know about coaching business, what works, both the soul and the strategy to my coaching community. And right now, we have about 600 people who are in our public community. We have a private community where people engage at a much deeper level. And so I'm speaking to them specifically, and I hope it resonates with everybody. That's really my goal, is to speak directly to my people and have it also be something resonant out there, greater public of coaches. Okay. So to do that, to kick off this pivot that I'm making, this show is focused on the theme. So the theme we have this month in our mastermind group. So we have a mastermind group here in our community, Soul Driven Success Business Academy community. And every month we have a theme. And so I'm going to be bringing you at times some of those themes. We unpack them in our mastermind group coaching calls and have some great conversations with some of the best coaches that I know. And I'm going to be bringing you some of their wisdom moving forward, their questions, their wisdom. You're going to have more experience engaging with the people in this community. And what the theme that we have in May, I call cleaning out your business closet. So this is a concept that came to me probably maybe 10 or I'm going to say broadly 10 to 15 years ago. Probably maybe even longer than that. When I got a hit about it because I'm a person, I love to clean out closets. I'm not a big cleaner, like mopping and vacuuming, and luckily I have a husband who loves to do that, and I have a house cleaner who does that. But I love to clean the stuff out. I love to clean the house. I love to take things out of the corners and out of the drawers, and take a look and see what I have, and sort it out and reorganize it. And when I do that, I feel so much better. There's a cleanness I feel inside of me as well as in the outside environment. I feel like I've seen what I have. I've sorted it through. I've gotten rid of the dust. I've gotten rid of the junk, the things that don't work anymore that energetically take up space. So things take up space, and things that are in our mind, concepts we're holding, take up space. So the cleaning out of your business closets, when that idea came to me, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to tell you the story. And I'm going to literally read this story from my book, Evolve Your Coaching Business. So if you would like to find this story, I offer Evolve Your Coaching Business, a PDF version of this book. All you have to do is join my free community, Soul Driven Success. Go to my website, souldrivensuccess.com, join the free community, and right away when you join, there's not going to be any obligation. You'll see we have some resources for coaches, and one of them is this book, absolutely free. This book you see right here. There's the hard copy. But on page 218, I have this story, and I'm going to read a bit of it to you. And then we're going to talk about how to apply this to you and your coaching business. It was a cold March morning in California. The little nip in the air didn't seem to match the palm trees blowing in the wind outside my window. I had my coffee cup in one hand and a notebook in the other. I was on a mission this morning. I snuggled into my comfy leather sofa and I began cleaning out my closet. I'm adjusting the reading here just for a minute. It's like, ooh, can't quite see that. The kind of cleaning I was doing, as you might have guessed, was not a real closet with coats and boots. This closet was my business closet. Using the metaphor helped me to see in my mind's eye what was happening in my business. What I was most interested in learning from cleaning this closet what had been working to keep my business rolling along for many years. It's like cleaning out my actual clothes closet when I want to see what items I actually wear and what looks good on me. So as I snuggled in on that bright spring morning, I started taking things out one by one. What marketing did I like? What services did I most enjoy? Where was that sweet spot in the marketplace where I could easily connect with people? That connection allowed me to promote my business in a way that was authentic and kept me in integrity and in tune with my highest values using my strengths. For me, it's like that amazing sweater that every time I wear it, people tell me it looks great, and I always feel good about myself just putting it on. In my business, I had things that often got positive feedback from people, such as my blog and my fun quizzes. One thing I love about any kind of closet cleaning is that, like an archaeological dig, there are always buried treasures. And I find a lot of junk I can let go of too. I wanted that kind of clarity in my business, which is why I took a whole day off for this search. I also looked at the people I was working with that I felt were ideal clients, the ones who were that had that wonderful chemistry. How had they found out about me? I looked at the variety of marketing I did to see where the best results were. I also looked at some of the things I had been learning in a business development course, things I didn't like to do at all. What about those? Was I being resistant to something that would bring me ideal clients, or was I being wise? I felt some dread as I began this part of the search. As much as I wanted to see the truth, I also didn't want to have to do something I didn't like. I was also excited because at any moment I might find a buried treasure, that sweet spot marketing activity that brought all those strengths together and brought success my way. As my coffee cup was nearly empty and the sun was rising higher in the sky over the palm trees in my front yard, I saw something. One activity that when I did it, my business grew. My business evolved. That one activity was to be in front of a room as a leader. It didn't seem to matter what kind of room. It could be a small networking group, my church congregation, a radio show audience, my podcast. I'm just adding that in there. That's not really in the book, but I've learned that since then. This discovery brought both joy and fear. I love being in front of a room as a leader, and that position was also one that felt really vulnerable to me. I felt my limitations, lack of experience. My inner critic loved telling me I was a fraud when I stepped up to the mic to lead. There was no question about it, though. This one activity really worked for me. As much as I loved writing my blog and books, creating my deck of cards, and other more introverted things, I couldn't deny what I found in my business closet that day. The cleaning of the closet story I just relayed happened when I was in the transition from startup to sustainable success stage. I had been engrossed in a business development program that was full of really great ideas and strategies on how to grow my business. But now that I had cleaned out the closet of my business, I could let go of a lot of those things because I saw they hadn't worked for me. My resistance had been laced with wisdom. With buried treasure information in hand, I moved from my comfy sofa to my office desk and started brainstorming about how I could get in front of a room as a leader more often. If that was the number one marketing activity, then it was the one I wanted to grow. The brainstorming led me to another one of my favorite activities, manifesting. I couldn't come up with anything concrete, but I felt a delight at finding a way to be in front of a room as a leader. I put my full attention on this one thing. I asked for guidance from spirit. Not a usual business building kind of thing, you might be thinking. For me, this was also what always worked. Whenever I cleaned out my business closet, I saw spirit at work in my life. About 2 weeks later, with spring fully in bloom, I drove along the highway I love most. The Pacific Ocean was on my left, with sun shining on the waves, making my heart skip a beat. My heart was also a little skippy because I was going to a big business event in Santa Barbara, which was a 30-minute drive away, but it felt like 100 in my heart. I was going to this event because I'd felt that guidance nudging me forward, the way it does when my soul wants me to grow, when there is something right for me to do, even if I can't see the point. This was a big event with a lot of presenters who knew so much more than I did. There would be hundreds of people there. I didn't know anyone who was attending. Why was I wasting my precious time and money, putting myself in such an awkward situation for an introvert like me? I parked in the fancy hotel parking lot, and believe me, it was fancy. I must have been late because it was hard to find a place to park. I walked through the lot, and at the entrance to the hotel, I saw the sign for the business convention. The big name presenters' pictures were on the poster. I wanted to run away. This was a stupid idea. My cozy, coffee clutching, cleaning out the closet experience seemed far, far away. I took a deep breath and opened the doors to the convention hall. There were hundreds of women entrepreneurs milling about, chatting and laughing. Though I felt shy, I also started to relax. These women looked like they were having fun, which is right up my alley. Then I heard a particularly warm laughter coming from the table to my right. As I turned my head in that direction, I thought I heard someone call my name. It couldn't be. I didn't know a single soul here. Maybe the person was calling another cat. Then there was a hand wave. My name called again, and a friendly face came into view, smiling from the table where all the laughter was coming from. There sat my dear friend, Sally. We had formed a friendship when she was active in the ICF chapter in Los Angeles. We had enjoyed supporting each other as we began our coaching businesses. Sally was a dynamo and a generous soul as well. A lot happened at that one event. Sally introduced me to some wonderful women. One of them was a person who had greatly inspired me in her presentation. She also told me about a networking franchise that was brand new. Now, Sally is not one to mince words. She told me I had to do it, to buy a franchise and start my own networking group. This is a true story, people. This actually happened. It is exactly right for you, she told me, as if she had eavesdropped on my discovery of the buried treasure I found in my business closet. I felt something kick in when she spoke. I saw I had been guided to the exact perfect place and time to find this offer at the front of the room as a leader position that would be perfect to help me evolve my business into sustainable success. And it did. I'm going to tell you more about that in a minute. So here's just a little bit more from the book. And then I'm going to tell you exactly how this whole thing rolled out and how you can make it work for you. This is a metaphor that works. Cleaning out your closets is a metaphor I use to identify what I consider to be one of the big spiritual principles that govern our lives, right up there with the laws of attraction and the power of forgiveness. This is a necessary and delightful step in any creative process, beginning with what you have. Okay, if any of you have been following me and you know the Soul Search, my other book, one of my seminal practices, you know that beginning with what you have is where you touch base with what's true. And there is a positive energy and an inspiration that comes from this. So I'm not going to go into the rest of the story that's here. I just wanted to give you a little head on this. This is a metaphor that actually works because there is something true about when we clean things out, we find what I described, those buried treasures, we find what we actually have. And that's what I'm going to encourage you to do. I'm going to give you a little exercise to complete this show. But before I do, I want to tell you what happened from that one experience. Hopefully, to encourage you, if you are in our community, we're going to do this together as a community. We're going to do some business cleaning out. I'm going to be working with you all to look at your businesses, there is a training on this in the Evolve Your Coaching Business course. There's a whole training with video and lesson and worksheets. And if you are not in our community and you're curious about it, I'll be happy to send you this exercise. Because although I do love the people in the community and that's who I focus on most, I want all coaches who are interested in growing their businesses to have access to the tools that are going to make that a possibility, make that true for you. I want to go back to something I found in the cleaning out of the closet because I realized in the book it kind of skips right over it, something really important. When I cleaned out the closet, as I said, I didn't know these names at the time, but I do now because this is also one of the pieces that I teach in my academy is that there are different stages of business in a coaching business. And there's one called startup, right? That makes sense. And I've talked about that on other shows. And mostly where I work with people is getting them from startup to sustainable. Sustainable is where you have all the systems working for you, you have the market working, and it's all working. So you're making the money and you can, in a sense, like relax because now you're working, the systems are working, you're making the money. It's like having a job, only it's your own business, but you can count on a steady flow of customers and income. That's sustainable success. That's where I help people get to. Startup to sustainable success. That's the biggest arc there is in any business. It takes many years for most people. Worthwhile. I just wanted to touch on that. Here's the other part. If you take me up on this, you believe in what I've been telling you today, and you go do this work yourself, I did this. And again, I don't know how long ago this was. It might have been as long ago as 15 years ago. That networking group that I started was phenomenally important in the growth of my business. I I was willing to pay the money and put in the time and effort. This is something I've learned in my coaching career. So I had dropped the program that wasn't working because it was aimed at a higher level of business than I was operating. It was trying to teach me things and go to learn and to grow and to take activities that wasn't my business wasn't ready for. That was a program that would take you from sustainable to legacy. I was in startup. I needed startup activities, and this was a startup activity. It actually still works in sustainable and legacy. But I got this networking group, and once a month, I gathered women in my living room. We ate together. It was a women-centered. It was a really fun. It was called Heart Links. And this got me out at other networking events because I went to other networking events to enroll women to come to mine. There was a lot of publicity and marketing that got done by the franchise. I met women all over the city that I lived in. And at every single meeting, I was a leader, which what I'd found, that's a strength of mine, is being a leader and speaking in front of people. So I'm enrolling in that and people saw me that way. And I also got to promote my business, of course. So as a leader, I'm promoting my business. It really got my business to a whole other level. And right along with that, I learned I love to be a leader. That it was not a thing I didn't want to do, which I do want to talk about. And maybe that'll be part 2. I'll do that in my next show, talking about when you clean out the closet, you're going to find some things that you don't like to do. And you really want to get help for those. You want to have somebody else do those things if possible, because you want to be focused on the things that are going to stretch you in the right direction. And this stretched me, and I knew it. Like I said, I felt a click. You feel clicks. You feel that intuition clicks in. I went on I became a leader for Coactive Training Institute. I became a certification leader for Coactive Training Institute. I've become a front of the room leader for Collective Training Institute. I became a minister. I went to ministerial school. I did sermons at my church. I did sermons all over the country. It became something I now leading in front of a room is one of my very favorite things to do. So that's a part of this is when you clean out your closet, you'll find those things. And I found it. Here's the key. I found it when I was looking at what are the marketing activities that bring me the most business, right? I didn't find it just by going like, what do I like best? Or what is it seems fun and kind of cool to do? It's like, what actually brings me the most business? I tracked it. I'm not a big tracker either. That's one reason this is an important exercise. If you're like me, a little more of the creative type, the linear tracking is a little more stressful. Maybe it doesn't come naturally, but there's something about cleaning out a closet using the metaphor and just taking a look and asking these questions. So I'm going to show you. This is the exercise I have for you. If you're in the community and you just send me a text, chat me on the Mighty Networks. I'll show you where it is. You can send me an email, kat@souldrivensuccess.com. And it takes you through your business closet. So again, of course, a business closet isn't in a sense real, but you can create a structure for it. Like maybe just get out a notebook and start writing the areas down of your business, marketing, admin, sales, tracking money, kind of look at what are the areas, and then ask yourself some of these questions. I'm going to read them here right from the sheet. Like, what experiences are most joyful? Which ones are painful? What are your greatest learnings? What activities generate the most income? That's the one I'm talking about. What parts of your business do you love? Where do you feel uncomfortable? What are your fears and doubts? And what are you most excited about, curious about? So the questions go on like that. Where do you feel connected to your work? What is it time to let go of? That's a huge question. So here's the assignment, should you choose to take it. Like I said, I took a whole day for this. I really think it takes a day and maybe two where you don't have any other obligations. Get some kind of a structure. Like I said, a notebook, or maybe it's a big board where you want to put the things so you can see the areas of your business. So it kind of makes it real like a closet. And either use my exercise or make up one of your own where you're asking yourselves these questions. What is the activity that brings you the most business? Is an exciting one. What doesn't work at all? And as you're asking the questions, you're a coach, get that sense. You really want to pay attention to the feeling. Oh, because sometimes if something isn't working for you, it's because it's not right for you. So you want to just stop doing it. You want to let go. Often, when I've found there's a part of something that I don't want to do, so I have something in my business academy I train called the 75-25 rule, where there's 75% I bring and I need 25% help. And there's a lot of nuances to that rule. But there might be, there's a whole part of it that there's a smaller part that you don't like. And you can get somebody to help you do that, or maybe you don't have to do it at all. The more you find in your closet where you go, oh, that actually works. That piece works. It might be something really small that you haven't done a lot of. And so you didn't know. Oh my gosh, that's the thing that's actually working. And right next to it might be something you're spending a lot of effort on and it's not getting you anywhere. When you find those, I want you to dig down again, right? We're looking for buried treasure. Is it that you don't know something? I work with a lot of people. They don't know, aren't have clarity on their niche. They don't have a message. I had a woman yesterday. She said the most brilliant thing. She said, I used to be a coach who was looking for clients. And now I'm a coach who has a business. That one's just like, I might do a whole show on that. So it's like, you want to look at, okay, what is it that's actually creating that where if you're in startup to sustainable, that things that could become sustainable for you. If you learned something, because this is why I brought in this woman, because she learns of things. She's been out there being a coach, she's been getting clients, but she learned she needed to actually have a business. And in order to have a business, she needed to learn about her niche and her message and, some marketing activities she hadn't known about before. So don't just discount something if you find you don't like it or it's not working. Get curious. These are some other questions in my exercise. Find out, what is it about it that's not working? Is it something you don't know? Is it something you're not good at? Is it something you need partnership around? Right? Give yourself the full breadth of this exercise. Clean out the closet of your business and then listen for the guidance that comes, the wisdom that's in you. Okay. We as coaches know that's where the wisdom lies. I can't tell you, right? I can give you the structure. That's my specialty. I give you the structure to go looking to find, oh, this is what it is. And then knowing only you can feel into that and find out. So this is going to be fun. I want to hear how this goes. It is fun, even though I said, there's some ouch moments. I just had an ouch moment recently. I cleaned out the closet of my business. Maybe this is why this came to the show today. And I found out I have a roll hole, which I call a tracker. I need somebody to help track things. I'm not a tracker. Like I said, I can clean out the closet. This is a great exercise, but I need somebody who's actually tracking numbers, statistics on my website, on social media. I need a person like that. So now I know that I have this roll hole, and it's really important to find somebody to help me with that. And once I have clarity, finding that person is so much easier. So that's a part of this cleaning out of the closet. It will give you clarity about what you have that you want to grow, what you have that's just already working so you can do more of it, and what's not working and where you might need help, but now you have clarity about what that help is. Because sometimes it seems like I don't know what it is that's not working. It seems like so much maybe. But with this exercise, you can get clear. Oh, this is it. These other things are going all right, but here's something. And maybe I don't want to learn it because I have no strength there. And so I need to find either some software or a person or a partner or take a class to learn about this. Okay. So have fun with that. Give yourself the time. I'd love to know how it's going. If you need some help and support, I'm here because cleaning out the closet is one of my favorite things, as I said. And in our community, we have group calls. You can bring this to the group call. If you're not in our community, we have free workshops 4 times a year. We have the next one coming up in July. So go and find out about that and be sure to put that on your calendar. And I'd love to hear from you. Send me an email, write me a letter, send me a text. We'll talk. I'll help you clean out the closet of your business. Thank you so much for joining me today. I look forward to talking